is a healthy sign for all of us. The rate of credit card payments at least 90 days overdue rose in the July to September quarter to 1.36% from the previous quarters, when it was 1.27, the lowest level on record. So we want to make sure that we're using credit cards right. Used right, they're a real help. When you see sales, you can get things and pay them off. But we want to talk about, first of all, proper use. So, Gail, how many credit cards would you suggest a person have?
People should have an average of about 2 credit cards, one for major purchases, and another one for backup, so you don't put everything on one. You don't want to have a lot of cards because they tend to add up.
And today when you're shopping and you're going to the malls and all of these people are there, it's easy to either lose your wallet or leave it someplace. If you've got a bunch of credit cards in there, you've got a job ahead of you. Number one, figuring out what cards they were, what companies they were, how you get a hold of them, so that you can put an immediate stop on them so that you're not responsible for everything charged. If you only have 2 cards, that's pretty easy to manage. So choose your cards. I have always said if you're getting a credit card, a national credit card like a MasterCard or a Visa, go with your local credit union or bank. Get a card that way. The interest rates on cards with just the national companies like Citibank, Chase, Bank of America are very high. The interest rates offered at by your local credit union or bank may be lower. However, you better look at, you better make sure that you check out what those interest rates are before you get it. Can you tell us some of the ways, Gail, some of the things that you should look at?
The first thing you should look at when you're getting ready to sign up for a credit card is the interest rate. Some places give you discounts for opening a new card. Other places give you gifts. You just want to watch the interest rate that's going to be on that card. The low interest rate is between 10 and 13%. They go up as high as 25%. It also affects your credit score with the number of cards that you open. Each time you apply for a card, it's marked on your credit rating. And the more marks you have on it, the less likely it would be for, say you were to go get a car loan, they're going to look at how many inquiries you have on your credit.
They will never tell you when you're getting a new card, oh, by the way, we're going to inquire on your credit, and this will stay on your credit report for 2 years. And I don't know anybody that hasn't gotten caught in that, including myself. And then I look and say, oh, yeah, that was when I was in California. That was when I was in Virginia. I did those, I got the 10% reduction on my bill, but all those went on my credit report.
And that will also bring your credit score down.
Yes.
And you want the score to be up as high as possible. Another thing to look at when you're trying to decide what kind of credit card to open, department stores, you can only charge at those stores. You will want to open a card that is universal. If you have an emergency, a MasterCard or Visa is usually the best to open. Some of the cards offer rewards. For every time you use your card, those tend to be at certain stores like Cabela's or Menards, and those generally are for only those stores.
I was interested to find out over the weekend that Sears and Kmart have a reward that works with either store. And you'll find some of the same merchandise in Sears that you have in Kmart. That's the only one I know where the rewards is the same. And if you watch your rewards, you get some pretty nice things. But like my son said, you know, you need a second wallet to carry your rewards cards around you. And that's about the truth.
So you'll want to watch when you're signing up for credit cards, how many you've done, what the benefits are with them, and try to just stick to a couple of cards. They're easier to keep track of. If you lose your wallet or whatever, it's easier to be able to stop the cards in that case.
And the use of cards, you'll notice that most of the cards welcome cash advance. Well, cash advances by and large cost you. You can walk in any bank, present your credit card, and tell them you want $200, $400, whatever amount you want. They give you the money, but typically the interest rate starts at that time and accumulates in the normal fashion. So it's not a good idea to use a cash advance. You're better off either waiting until your cash money comes in or your paycheck money comes in, but stay away from cash advances. If you're carrying a balance on your credit card and you're going to make a purchase, you want to make sure that the purchase goes on the lowest balance card you have. Some cards charge, and this is not really, doesn't really go along with that statement, but some cards charge one interest rate for the new purchases, one for the old balances. So you've got to keep watching your credit cards to make sure you understand what the amount is that you can actually charge without having a higher interest rate. Late fees. 29% of women paid a late fee, but so did 23% of men. So you see, we're all paying late fee, and that's in the last quarter.
Some cards have annual fees. That can be quite high. That can sneak up on you before you know it. Watch, you have to read the terms and conditions of the card before you get it. If at all possible, you want to avoid the ones that say there's an annual fee. That's just an extra charge for carrying the card, and there are plenty of cards out there that do not charge an annual fee.
It's hard to get out of that. I've got a credit card that charges an annual fee, and when I get my credit card that charges the annual fee, there is nothing else on my card. So that month, I just pay the annual fee. Well, if I don't get them called within 30 days before the end of my next year, I wind up paying it again. I'm now in that same thing. So May of this year, maybe I better have you, Gail, remind me to go ahead and get rid of that annual fee card. And it is, otherwise it's just more money that you pay. People for years have looked at their credit cards and said, well, see, it just says I have to pay $20. True. However, if you pay a $2,000 credit card, the minimum balance that they require, it'll take you 30 years to pay that $2,000 off. So what you want to do with any balance you have is you want to take a look and decide how long you want to take to pay it off. Under the new law that was passed about 3 years ago or 4, your credit card statement has to say how long it's going to take if you pay off based on minimum payment, how much interest they're charging, and where you can go to get help. Consumer credit counseling is on that list of where you go to get help. Now, we're going to ask that you come into the office, that you sit down with a counselor, that you go through a spending plan with them, learn how to get through the month without all these extra charges, and then how you can also take care of any of these credit cards that are out of whack. Sometimes you placing a call to them helps you out. You don't need any more than that. Sometimes you need intervention by a third party who is used to doing this, and that's where consumer credit counseling comes into it. Back to the averages for a minute. With the average debt, and this is the average debt of anybody, men carry an average balance of $12,953, while women have an average balance of $11,486. And I think we've said for some time the average balance of a consumer credit client was about $9,000, unless we're dealing with bankruptcy, in which it's like $18,000. So our clients are, so this average nationally is coming down. Over the course of the year, 45% of men paid their credit card balances in full, and 39% of women did the same. It will increase your credit score dramatically when you pay off your debt. Some people feel that they need to have a high income in order to improve their credit score. But the truth is, you need to pay your debts, and you need to control them, not get more debt. Pay off the debts that you have, and stay where you are. Don't be moving all over. These are the main things that improve your credit score. Comparison shop for the best credit card. If you shop around for a credit card, you'll probably get a pretty good one. You can get ones that have, I used to get ones that have miles. Now miles don't do me any good because I don't do much traveling. Other people will choose a credit card that gives you cash back. I know people that order and get Christmas gifts for their cash, from their cash back. Well, that's just charging on your credit card and getting money back for having charged on it. It's a good way to do it. 93% of men said they paid their bills on time, as did 82% of women. And personally, I believe that we could see women paying their bills a little bit later than men is, because so many women are handling the household themselves. Check your credit report. 58% of men said they checked their credit report, compared to 49% of women. You should all check your credit report annually. Annualcreditreport.com. Gail, you check credit reports at the office. Can you tell us a little bit about that procedure?
When a client would come in, they're coming in to find out what they have on their credit report. We would pull the credit report and go through it with them. It shows the number of open cards they have, the number of cards that are delinquent, and then it would show if there's any that are charged off. It gives their recent address and their former addresses. So if a creditor is trying to pinpoint, make sure the client is who they say they are, this is one way they can verify that that is you.
It's very important that is what is on your credit report is yours, and that it's accurate. Because the only thing that's going to change your credit report is time. And if you let some bad stuff on there, and it goes many years, when people look at it, they're going to assume that's yours because you haven't contested it. You haven't had it removed. Removal is not that difficult. If it's something the credit bureau put on there and shouldn't have, there is a statement, and we have a generic statement at Consumer Credit that can be sent to your credit bureau saying, you know, I'm Tom Smith, this is Tom Smith Jr., his address is one house down from mine, you've got the wrong person on here, this needs to be corrected. Identifying things like that. You get that to them, they've got 30 days to get that negative information pulled from your record. So that's part of what you want to do, but you want to make sure that the credit cards are all correct. Years ago, we had a client in a neighboring town, and we got a call, a collection call. The collection call didn't make sense knowing the client. So I went to the courthouse in that town, and lo and behold, another person in the same town had been opening up credit cards, opening up local charges, and putting it on this person's account. Then they were never going to be charged for it. So you want to make sure that the things on your credit are definitely yours, belong to you. So as we look at credit and we talk about the holidays, we want to make sure that we are limiting the number of cards we carry on us. And you know, this is true in a household. We have found that men and women don't know what the other one is carrying, or I should say partners in a household don't know what the other one has for credit cards. If there is an accident and something is taken, you need to know what cards belong to that household. So make sure that it would be a good idea to write them down and put your credit card numbers in the safe, or a statement from your credit cards. Put them in the safe so that you have the number and the company in case anything like this could happen.
Another thing to watch for is deals that offer deferred interest. Deferred interest refers to 6 months to pay the bill without any interest on the card. That means one day after 6 months, if you do not have the card paid in full, that interest from day one goes on. So if you make a major purchase, say $300 or $400, and the deal is you have 6 months to pay with no interest, you need to pay what they say is the minimum or more every month, or at the end of your 6 months, if that bill is not totally paid off, they will add the interest on and then future interest. So that's something that is not always looked at when you decide to go that route.
We had this, my husband and I had this happen to us very early on in our marriage. We went to a small loan company and we purchased something, and then the deal was it would be at the small loan company, but we had a certain length of time to pay it off. Well, we got a hold of our insurance company and got the loan. The money came in 6 days after it was due, so we now owed 1 year's worth of interest. I was so mad I wouldn't go in and pay it. So I told my husband, you're going to have to go in and pay it. On another occasion, we discovered that you have to pay $5 to have the judgment released at the courthouse. So we paid it all up, and then I had to go out to the car to get another $5 to make sure that they would get the judgment released. And that also was with a small loan company. So make sure that you fully understand how to get these released, so that if you do use this, which helps you to spread out the length of time before you have to come out with their money, that you get it all paid and don't get stuck with interest. And I'm sure the 1 year that we were stuck with at that time is small compared to the way it would be now. Along with the card holders, sometimes there are additional card holder fees. Fee that may apply if you order a credit card for another person, such as your spouse. And there again, you better know how many cards are in your house. Because if someone takes it and uses it, you may not recognize the purchase.
Interest rates can be a flat fee, or they can be a revolving, which means they could increase the interest, reduce it, just depends on the company. So you want to watch the details on the interest rates. You can always ask the company that you're getting the card from, and they should be able to give you details, but you want to have everything, your questions ready when you contact them, so you know what you're opening up.
Yes, and of course, the best interest rate doesn't matter if you pay it in full within your, like, 25 days. There was a time when you had 30 days to pay it. Well, that keeps getting backed off, and now it's about 25. But you need to get it paid, and there are many ways of paying it. You can go electronic, you can send them a check. Not too many people are really comfortable with having a company take it out of their bank. We do not recommend that you send companies checks and let them cash them. I had a client come in and she told me that she had sent 3 checks to this company. Payment was due on Friday. They didn't cash the check till Monday. They charged her an over limit and a late payment fee. Now, she had no control over it because she had already sent it to them. So make sure you have control of that and you know when the check goes out to them. Or if you're doing it electronically, when you electronically sent the check. There is a universal default clause that states that if you're past due on any accounts with any lender, it's reflected on your credit report. Then your credit card company can increase the interest on your credit card account, even if you've never been late to that company. So what you want to do is make sure that you only have a couple of credit cards, like maybe 2, and that you don't get behind on either one. They're really very important. Now, if you want to make sure that you fully understand what's going on with your credit, with your budget, with the income, and with the holidays as you go closer to the end of the year, give us a call at Consumer Credit, 234-0661, and tell Susan you would like to have an appointment. It can be morning, afternoon. We'll make the arrangements for your time. Or if you would just like to attend a class, tell her you'd like to attend the next credit education class. They're held out at Ridgeway Place, the old Schweitz Hospital. And it's on a Wednesday evening from like 6 to 8:30 or 6 to 8. You can learn a lot at the classes, get brushed up in the things that you need, and enjoy a little other camaraderie with people, because credit is a huge topic. It's something that we all need to know more about. And by not facing it, not looking at it, we're not really helping ourselves out. So give us a call. There will be a counselor. If you wish, there will be a counselor to sit down with you, help you set up a budget, determine some goals. You need to have long and short-term goals dealing with your money. Those that can help you make a trip to California or get through the holidays without huge headaches coming December 26th when you owe a whole bunch of new money. Sit down and talk to a counselor and get this figured out. Set yourself a pattern for the future so that you control your money. Your money's not controlling you. Consumer Credit is a nonprofit credit education organization owned by the members of the Cedar Valley and governed by a board of directors. We're certified, our counselors are all certified by the National Foundation of Credit Card, the National Foundation for Consumer Credit. And we are licensed by the Division of Banking. Every 2 years, HUD comes in to examine. An auditor comes in each year. Our books are open. We're more than willing to show everybody what we have and what we do. We're audited by the Social Security Administration. It's about 7 different bodies that come in to take a peek to see what we're doing every year. So I'm here to tell you that we provide the best service that we can to help residents of the Cedar Valley with their money. And we are more than willing to help you to learn more about what you can do to be better off financially and happier. What you do will also affect your children and your grandchildren. They need to know how to handle their money. And if they learn when they are little, they'll be much better off as they get older. Today, there are a lot of teenagers that feel that they have to have this and that, a new car at 16 and all that, although I think that's gone on for years. Then you have the 6-year-olds that have seen all these Toys R Us ads on TV and they have to have. Well, we need to tone it down and help them understand what they need to have for the future. So at Consumer Credit, we will help you manage your money. We'll help you with a brighter future. Gail, do you have a parting word or two?
Another thing you can also look into is setting up a savings account at the beginning of the year. A lot of banks and credit unions will offer Christmas savings accounts, so you're not put in a bind come November and December. You have funds put back for that.
That's a very good tip, and it's so timely. And yes, if we could just start even now, putting something away for the future. There will be a lot of shopping going on right after Christmas, so we want to be prepared. Thank you, and have a good day.